Hey y'all, Organizing Higher, welcome or welcome back. I share organization and productivity tips, tools, and resources, so be sure to subscribe if you're into that. So pretty soon, I'm gonna be returning back to working on site after working remotely for about a year or so. I figured I'd share with you all the routine that I use every morning when I first go into work and every afternoon when I'm starting to end the day. I find that the morning routine really helps me to stay focused and kind of like gear up for the work day. It helps me to shift from whatever was happening at home or on my commute to really focusing on work stuff. My end of the day routine is great for really kind of drawing a line in the sand between work stopping and me transitioning back into my personal life. It gets my mindset back into my personal life and away from any of the stressors or chaos or anything like that that was happening at work. I find that these two routines together really are bookends, and they help me to, have a bit of consistency to my day, even though on a day-to-day basis what I'm doing at work might be completely different every single day. These two bookends give me that sense of stability and control, even on those days when I feel like everything is just spiraling out of control. So my morning routine is really pretty simple. I take a backpack into work. A lot of people take like a bag of some sort. So I just start off with unpacking my bag. If I've brought lunch, depending on where the fridge is in the office, I'll unpack my lunch first before I unpack my bag. But I unpack my bag, I pull out like my laptop, I'll pull out my phone, I might pull out a notebook or a pen. I just set everything up on my desk, my clear desk, which I'll talk about when I talk about my end of day routine. And I just kind of set up my workstation. Once I've unpacked my bag, I actually check and empty my physical inbox, my physical in-basket that I have. Usually this is sometimes it's notes from the day before for things that I haven't gotten the chance to finish or stuff I don't want to forget about from the day before. So I'll just check my inbox, my in-basket really quick for paper items, process those things. Then I'll move on to actually logging into my computer, which I restart every single day or shut down every single day. And again, I'll talk about that in my end of day routine. Before I actually log into my computer, what I do is brew my tea. I have an electric tea kettle that I keep at my desk, and I turn that on so that way the water is warming up while I am logging into my computer. Once the water's ready, it usually takes 2 or 3 minutes or so for that to warm up. I'll go ahead and pour in my cup of tea, log into my computer, and I will launch a web browser. Chrome is the browser that I use, which pulls up Todoist and YNAB. I've talked about that in another video before. And I open Outlook. So just like with my paper inbox, I go to my Todoist inbox and process anything that's there. And I go to my Outlook inbox and process any emails that I have. So pretty much the first thing that I do in the morning, I'm very fortunate, is that I'm able to process things. A lot of times I get to work a little bit early. So if I start work at 8, I might get there at like 7:30 or 7:45. So I usually have like some built-in work time before anybody comes in and interrupts me. And even if it's only 15 or 30 minutes, that's enough time for me to confidently know that I will be able to do this process pretty much every single day. It's the rare day when I don't have those 15 or 30 minutes to start my work day. So after I've cleared my inboxes, the next thing I'll do is I'll check my calendar. Sometimes I'll check my calendar ahead of time because, as I talked about in another video, I will check my calendar sometimes the night before. So if I have a meeting at like 8:30 or the rare occasion where I have a meeting at 8, I just want to check in on that before I start diving into my inboxes, because I don't want to get too caught up in, focus on processing and then look up and, oh my gosh, I'm 15 minutes late for a meeting or something like that. Although I also have the notifications for my meetings that go off on my phone. And so it's unlikely that I'm going to miss a meeting, but it's not impossible. So if I've checked my calendar and I don't have any activities or anything, let's say that I've got a free hour or 2 hours, then I'll start looking at Todoist and I'll look at my next actions lists and I'll start banging out next actions. So a lot of times I start with my emails list just because I feel most confident in starting there. That usually moves a lot of my work forward. But other times I'll look at something that is maybe due that day and I'll start working on that. Maybe if I've got especially high energy that morning, I'll start with a high energy task. So I just kind of dive into what I feel like engaging with. My morning routine, I actually put as a task in Todoist. And I've used this as a recurring task, but I could also make this a task that shows up through IFT. I've gone back and forth and really both of them work. Most of the time when I do end up not having it as a recurring task in Todoist and it just shows up through IFT, it's because I don't want to see it in Todoist until I need to actually do something about it. But a lot of times I just leave it in there in Todoist, that way I don't have to worry about it. And I have I've done this enough times that I know what's in my routine, so I don't actually have to look at it to know what's in there. But if you want to try out a morning routine, it's really a good idea to make it like a task with subtasks. And then every time you're looking at the routine of doing that morning routine, you just make sure that you're looking at the main task of the morning routine and you can see all the subtasks listed there. Alternatively, you could also just use the description area of the task in Todoist and just put the description of your routine in there. I'd say if you're just starting out, don't make your routine like 15 things long. Make it like 2 or 3 tasks long. So, unpack your bag and then log into your computer, or, unpack your bag and then check your paper inbox. So, and then after a while, once that starts to become a habit, then you just add things on top of that. So definitely don't start with 20 things if right now you don't do anything or you just, kind of are random with your stuff. But try, 2 or 3 things and see how that feels and then start adding on more things. So with my end of day routine, it's very similar in that it's a structured process. I have it in Todoist, sometimes as a recurring task, sometimes I use it through IFT. But the point being, it's my reminder. It's almost like last call at a bar, right? It's like, hey, heads up, it's almost time to leave. So this is about 15 minutes before my workday ends. The reminder in Todoist will come on, letting me know that I need to work on my end of day routine. This usually consists of like wrap up your tasks, clean your dishes. If I've had, lunch or something like that, I don't like to leave dishes in the sink at work. And that's a pet peeve of mine when people do that. Like, I understand if it's there during the day, that's okay. But like overnight, I feel like you should clean your dishes if you've used them. Anybody else feel that way? If I've brought lunch and there's anything that maybe is left over in the fridge, I just make sure that I clean the fridge out. I would hate for anything to get expired if I've forgotten about it or something like that. I repack my bag. I'm very strategic about how I pack my bag. So what I pack out, I make sure that I pack in. And I do take like my laptop and I do take my notebook and a pen to work. So I pack all that stuff back into my bag as well. And then the last thing I do is just close all of my computer programs and I restart my computer. This does 2 things for me. Number one, it really gives me the chance to like literally disconnect. So once my computer's logged out, I can't check my email on my computer. I can't be tempted to send a last email. I can't be tempted to, do anything else that's work related on my computer because I'm already logged out. So unless it's super, super important, I'm very unlikely to take the time to log back in. So it almost forces me to stop working. Also, that way in the morning when I come in, it's a refreshed computer. It's, any kind of updates or anything like that that needed to be installed have been installed. Because how many times have you been working on something and then the updates that you have, put off for 2 weeks, like force your computer to install in the middle of you working on something? So just do a restart every single day and it usually captures all of those updates and things like that. And I never have to worry about my work getting interrupted for a Windows update. The other last thing that I do before I forget is also clearing off my workspace. So it doesn't necessarily mean like 100% of every piece of paper is off of my desk. But if I, have papers that have gotten strewn about, I either like file them if they need to be filed. I put them in my inbox if it's something that I need to process later. I don't like to leave stacks of paper just like randomly on my desk. I decide what that thing is, recognizing, hey, that pile of paper isn't supposed to be there permanently. Is it project support? Do I need to file this? Like, what is it? So it's almost like processing my desk, I guess. I just don't stick it in my inbox. Sometimes I just pick it up off of my desk and say, what is this thing? And then I put it where it needs to go. And that way, when I come in the morning, my desk is clean, it's clear. I'm not looking for things. I'm not, remembering, oh yeah, that piece of paper I was working on yesterday. Oh yeah, I want to work on that. Now I'm, distracted and want to dive into that work instead of doing my routine. When my end of day routine, it just really gives me that sense of closure to, stop work and then to transition into to, you know, being with my daughter and being present with the next thing that I'm going to do, especially when I have, you know, really stressful work days and I just, you know, am feeling really overwhelmed by it. It's almost like taking that deep breath and then exhaling and then walking forward intentionally into, you know, a better space, and knowing that I can start again tomorrow if I do have an especially tough day. So that's my workday morning and workday closing routines, and I love using them to help me to get things done at work, but also to disconnect when I need to. Let me know if you have a routine, or if you don't, what kinds of things that you would want to implement in your morning or end of day routine. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.